Hi guys, I bring you here another Tomb King's battle report. It is my third league game, so I will be using the same list I used last time. It has a light council with full magical support, 2 units of 4 Necropolis Knight, and a big archer unit with 2 prints on them. My opponent this time will be using Warriors of Chaos. His list consists on a Cinch Chaos Lord with a 3+ ward save and rerollable ones, a magic resist 1, mounted on a dragon, 10 chariots of Nurgle, and 2 units of 5 Nurgle Knights, with a mounted level 2 Death Wizard. The game will last 5 turns, and a 300 victory points difference is needed for a victory. We roll for spells and I get Desert Wind, Cursed Blades, Smiting and Desiccation on my Hierophant, Burning Gaze, Speed of Light, Banishment and Time Warp on my level 4, and Fab Protection and Burning Gaze on my level 1s. My opponent rolls Spirit Lich and Fate of Lanif on his level 2. We roll for terrain and get 2 rivers and 5 buildings in addition to a forest. 3 of the buildings and the forest are deployed on the sides and won't make a difference on the game. My deployment from left to right consists on the big unit of archer with all the characters in it behind the building. In front of the big archer unit and 4 inches to the left of the building is a small archer unit. On the other side is the other unit of archers, and to the right is the Hero Titan. Behind them is a unit of Necropolis Knight, and diagonal to the unit of Necropolis Knight is the other unit of Knights. And to the far right is the Casket of Souls. My opponent's deployment from left to right are 6 chariots on the left of the building. To the right is the Chaos Lord, 2 chariots. To the right are 2 units of Nurgle Knights. Behind them are 2 chariots. And finally a unit of Warhounds. I then deploy my scouts and use one of them to block the Warhound's vanguard and position the other 2 near my lines to harass my opponents on the later turns. We roll off and Tomb King start the game. I start the turn by garrisoning the building with the big archer unit, moving the small archer unit on the left forward, and Ramhotep moves next to the building. Most of my units move to the side to let the second Necropolis Knight unit move forward, and we go to the magic phase, which starts with 12 power dice for me. I start by 2 dicing smiting on the archers on the building, followed by a 2 dice desiccation on the nearest chariot. Then I 3 dice a boosted banishment on the Chaos Lord and discover he has a magic resistant 1 and I fail to cause any wound on him. Then I use 5 dice on the casket, but my opponent scrolls it. In the shooting phase, the archers in the building, the small archer unit on the right, and 1 horse archer unit shoot at the desiccated chariot, but it armor saves all the caused wounds. My opponent starts by marching his knights to the river and moving 4 chariots and the warhounds in the same direction. The chariots on the left move toward the other bridge, while the Chaos Lord positions himself 17 inches away from my Necropolis Knights. The magic phase starts with 8 power dice for my opponent, who tries to cast a 4 dice Spirit Lich, which I dispel, and then he fails a boosted Fate of Juna on 4 dice. I start the turn with a daring charge from the Necropolis Knight on the Nurgle Knights. They are 16 inches away, but they roll good enough and they make the charge. The horse archer on the right declares a charge against the warhounds, who flee. My other Necropolis Knight unit and the horse archer backpedal a bit to make the charge difficult for the Chaos Lord, while the 3rd horse archer unit moves forwards outside of the charge arc of either the chariots and the Chaos Lord. I get an 11 power dice magic phase and start by casting a 2 dice banishment on the left chariots, causing only 3 wounds to it. I tend to dice the boosted Cursed Blade to grant an improved killing blow to my knights, but my opponent dispels it. I follow this with a 2 dice protection on them and a 2 dice speed of light, which my opponent fails to dispel. Then I use the casket with 2 dice, causing 2 wounds to one of the chariots, and try to cast smiting with 1 dice but fail. On the shooting phase, my small archer unit managed to do 1 wound to the dragon, and in combat I roll horribly and the knights, even with the buffs, manage only to kill 2 knights and do 1 wound to the wizard, and receive 2 wounds back. The Nurgle knights hold. After some considerations, my opponent decides not to charge with his Chaos Lord and move him toward the right to help jump that side. The chariots on the left advance toward the bridge and move to charge the horse archers. With no magic phase, we go straight to combat, and this time the Necropolis Knight managed to cause 2 more wounds, receive 1 in return, and break the Nurgle Knights, and they overrun into the second Nurgle Knight unit. I start by moving my Horse Archer unit to block the charge against the Necropolis Knights, move my Horse Archer unit to block the charge from the chariots on the Necropolis Knight who just advanced forward, and are right now in a good position to counter-charge the chariots. Since the second Necropolis Knight unit is a bit too far from the casters on the tower, the unit moves outside. My plan is to cast as much augmentation as I can on the Necropolis Knight and use the last 2 remaining dice to move back into the building. And the magic phase starts with 12 power dice for me. I start by casting a 2 dice banishment which costs 3 wounds to a chariot on the left. Then I use the casket with 2 dice, kill the wounded chariot, and make another chariot panic. I then cast protection on 2 dice and get a double 6. I roll a calamitous detonation, killing 12 archers and losing only 1 power dice. The miscast make me forget about my carefully crafted plan, and I just proceed to use the 4 remaining dice to cast Speed of Light, and my opponent dispels it on a 666. My shooting fails to cause any wound, and in combat the Necropolis Knights are slaughtered by the knights and crumble away. My opponent takes advantage of my former mistake and charges 2 units of chariots into the horse archer to overrun into my archers next turn. The 3rd chariot on the left flank advances forward and the other chariot rallies. On the right flank, he advances at full speed with his Chaos Lord and his Nurgle Knights, and advances a bit slower with the remaining chariots. In combat, the 2 chariots kill the horse archer just with the impact hits and overrun into the archer unit. I start the turn by charging the flank of one of the chariots to block it from advancing forward and stopping 2 other chariots. Then I move the horse archer to block the Nurgle Knights and fail to swift reform with my Necropolis Knights. The magic phase starts with 8 power dice for me. I try to cast a 2 dice smiting on the Necropolis Knight, but my opponent dispels it. Then I try to use the casket on the Nurgle Knights with 2 dice, but my opponent dispels it again. And with the 4 remaining power dice, I cast Fab Protection and Speed of Light on the archers. In this combat, the charioteer managed to do 1 wound to the horse archer, who do none in return, but with a charge and a flank, they win combat by 1. The chariot holds. In the other combat, the chariots managed to kill 8 archers with impact hits, but thanks to the magical protection, they failed to cause any other wound. In return, the unit managed to do 3 wounds to one chariot and 1 wound to the other. My opponent starts by charging the Nurgle Knights into the horse archers, one of the chariots into the big archer unit, and the Chaos Lord on the Necropolis Knights. Finally, 2 chariots charge the flank of the horse archer, and they kill the horse archer just with impact hits. The Nurgle Knights kill the horse archer too, but failed the leadership test and overran 8 inches. In the third combat, the charging chariot managed to kill 5 archers. The archers in return caused 1 wound to each chariot, killing the chariot that just charged in. They lose combat by 1 and 1 archer crumbles. In the final combat, the Chaos Lord and the dragon managed to kill 2 Necropolis Knights before they can hit, but the 2 remaining snakes managed to cause 4 wounds on the dragon, and with the banner they managed to lose the combat by only 2 and receive 1 wound thanks to the construct rule. I start my last turn with a brave charge from the small archer detachment to support the big archer unit, and move the Hydro Titan outside the Knight's line of sight. I get a 6 power dice magic phase. I start by casting a 2 dice smiting on the Necropolis Knight, followed by a 3 dice speed of light which my opponent fails to dispel. With the last power dice and a power stone, I managed to cast time warp on the Necropolis Knight. In this combat, the charioteers and health steed managed to do 3 wounds to the archers, but the archers do 1 wound to the chariots on the right and win combat by 1. The chariots on the right hold, but the chariot on the left breaks and flees. The small archer unit pursues, but fails to catch by 2 inches. In the other combat, the snakes manage to slay the dragon, but the Chaos Lord does 3 wounds and kills 1 of the Necropolis Knights, and the combat ends in a virtual draw, with the standard bearer losing the combat by 1. On the last turn, one of the chariots charged the Necropolis Knight to help the Chaos Lord, while the other charged the flank of the archer unit. The chariot managed to do 2 wounds to the Necropolis Knight, who rolls poorly and fails to cause any wound. The Chaos Lord then slaughters the remaining Necropolis Knight. The archer unit loses 2 models to the impact hits, another one to the charioteer's attack, but the combined attack from both prints managed to kill the chariot in the front, and the unit wins the combat by 1. The chariot breaks thanks to the golden mask, but the archer unit fails to pursue it. The game then ends and it's a draw with only 40 victory points difference. I hope you enjoyed the game, and if you did, please comment, like and subscribe.